we're looking at a scenario where you may be using a CRM currently, or you may be providing CRM technologies or recommending CRM technologies to your network, to your referrals, to your people. And so that's really what this video is about, is how to replace your current CRM solution using Dubb. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. And so the whole thing of a CRM is oftentimes it is kind of cumbersome and complicated and end up 90% of it not being utilized. That's sort of the main issues with the CRM. However, the stats are out there, right? If you look up any stat in any industry, every place that it's been studied, any people that use CRMs are performing better than people that aren't, right? In any measured industry. And in fact, in a lot of industries, it's not even like if you should be using one. It's just a matter of which one you're using and how effective are you using it. That's actually an eventuality I think that everyone should be at. So if you're underutilizing your CRM, or you're not getting the most out of it, or something like that, then this is also a video for you. So a couple of things, guys. Your CRM, the main purpose, what CRMs were originally invented for, right, is sort of like tracking your customers, tracking your deal management, your pipeline, your conversations. So that's really the main purpose of the CRM, is so that you're not using like notes or a spreadsheet or something to find that information or to track it, or worse yet, to not have access to it at all, right? If you're not tracking your conversations, you're not leaving notes and milestones as to where your clients or your prospects are, then we're really missing a lot of opportunities. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen here in the Dubb CRM. This is essentially the view of the CRM. All of this is customizable, which is really important for you guys as well. We don't want you looking at fields and things and stuff that aren't relevant for you. So you might find that, well, the stage, this isn't relevant for me at all, or I don't have to deal with companies, I'm dealing with consumers. So when you click this edit columns here, this is going to allow you to fully customize the look and feel of your CRM. If you need custom properties, again, super important for getting what you need out of your system. What I recommend creating for your custom properties, guys, are the things that matter the most in your business. So is this when they first became a contact, what their first interest is, like some of these things like the source, where did they come from? These are the kind of properties that you guys will need to have in your CRM so that you can actually keep track of the information you need to. Oftentimes people will neglect or just not be aware of those things. Like for Dubb, we have life cycles, right? Like how long does it take for somebody to become a customer? And then when did they become? So now we have sort of properties based on dates that we can say, okay, let's filter by people that were within this date range, or within this location, or within this industry. So industry is really important for us as well, right? Like real estate is a great vertical for us, mortgage, professional services of different types. So this is the very first place that you guys, before you're importing contacts, before you're doing anything else, this is sort of the number one thing to do with your CRM, is to make sure that it's organized. Now, if you're using something like Salesforce, they're typically a blank slate, much like Dubb is, where it's not industry specific. On the contrary, if you're using a real estate or an industry specific CRM, a lot of these properties are already going to be created. So this is where Dubb and Salesforce are actually really similar in that they're open. You know, there's a lot of fields that you can add, a lot of columns you can create or customize. And this is the first section I always recommend doing. Again, before you import contacts, before even adding tags and stuff, which we're going to cover, this is the thing that you want to customize first, so that when you view your CRM, you come into your contact list, you're going to see exactly what you need to see here in terms of emails, tags, custom properties that you've created. And all it takes to reorder those things is a simple drag and drop. So remove the columns you don't want, add in the columns that you do. Place them in the order that is the most important to you. It's really about efficiency. So you shouldn't be having to do multiple scrolls and clicks and things like that to see the information that you need. So the most pertinent, most important information should be right here first in your tags, or in your columns. Now, this is very first step of setting up the CRM, guys, is managing the actual CRM view so that the information you need is tracked. Now, this is also really important when it comes to things like integrations or forms, or adding data into the Dubb CRM, either automatically with a tool like Zapier, or some of the other integrations that are supported, or even when you're doing things like a bulk import, right? If you're doing a massive import, you want to make sure all these properties are already created so that when you import your list, you're easily able to match the relevant fields. What I don't recommend is adding columns just for the sake of having them, right? If you don't need extra data, if it's like, what is the third home address? If you don't really need that, if you've never used that information, probably don't bother with it, because you want your CRM clean, right? You want it organized. And the more sort of fields and properties and things that you have that you aren't using, the more likely it is to just create a jumble, right? So only create the properties that you need and organize this CRM view so that what is here is what you actually need. So this is phase one of setting up a CRM, and then how it's going to be used to replace a tool like Salesforce is just customizing the standard CRM properties. Now, let's go from here. When you actually come to view a contact, this is what the contact view is going to look like. Speaking of those properties, those are right here, right? So under details, the way that these custom properties work, it's the same as what I was just talking about with the columns. What's relevant for you should be showing here. And what is going to show here immediately are the things that actually have data. So when I click this view more, you guys are going to see a lot of custom properties here, most of which are not used and most of which are just for testing purposes, for demonstration purposes. Some of these are really important for us, but a lot of these are, sort of not related to Dubb directly. They were like showing somebody else like a postal address or something here. So are you working with an agent? Obviously an example of a real estate custom property, not something that we're dealing with. So, you know what they say, do what I say, not what I do. This is one of those examples of having extra properties in your CRM that I don't recommend having. We have them here for sort of demonstration purposes, but this is how these properties are going to work is once they're populated, then they're going to show immediately right here, which again, the CRM is designed to make you more efficient, not getting bogged down in looking for data and adding records and stuff. Speaking of adding records, the note taking and logging your information is probably one of the most important things. Because let's say if I had a conversation with this guy on Zoom, maybe we record this meeting, obviously, but if we recorded a 30-minute Zoom meeting, or we had a conversation on the phone or in person, what are the chances of you remembering all those details 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year from now? Probably not likely, right? And this is where logging those conversations becomes really important. Dubb is going to automatically log all of the activity. So if they watched a video, clicked a button, opened an email, all of that stuff, whatever workflows, those things are all done automatically. So not something that you need to manage. But if you had a conversation, you had a memorable moment of maybe it was a phone call, maybe it left a voicemail, right? That would be something worth logging, because you don't want to say, well, when did I leave this guy a call? I don't know. I don't know when the last time I talked to him was. So right here is the manual property of Dubb, the Dubb CRM. The most important manual property is just logging your activities, guys. It seems really basic and kind of like, oh, geez, it's like somebody's cracking the whip. But a lot of our audience, a lot of you guys are entrepreneurs. You're solopreneurs, in fact, where you're running your own business or you're in charge of a team or an important member. And so this is something that it took me a long time to get used to, right? Like when I first got in my CRM, I was logging some basic stuff, but adding more detail is only going to help you. Let's say, for instance, we're all looking to grow our business, right? And one way to grow is with scale, with outsourcing, or with delegating. And that requires somebody else, right? We're going to hire a VA. We're going to hire an employee, a salesperson, someone to help manage this stuff. And this is, again, where having your notes and having detailed records are going to be extremely helpful. Because down the road, it may not just be you that's coming in to look and utilize this data. And in fact, if you did hire a VA or a salesperson or someone to come help you with your business and do these types of activities, imagine if your thing looks like this, right? There's not properties set up, there's nothing populated, there's no conversation history. They have no idea what to do with this, and they don't know where to start. So for not only your personal benefit, but for the benefit of your business and its future proofing your business, because eventually that's likely the goal of most people, is you want to be able to step away from your being sort of in the weeds here. And that sometimes requires outsourcing or delegation to help, like a VA or a salesperson or just a hire. So in the CRM, those are the three things that I recommend doing most importantly, is creating your properties and then making it a regular practice to manually log what is happening with this contact. can't be overstated. Without that, you're not getting much from it, right? You're going to go look at this record and you're going to say, oh, they watched some videos, they clicked some buttons, they filled out some forms, I have some data, but I have no idea of what the last conversation I had with them was or what we said. And the couple of things that Dubb is going to be working on in the near future is email syncing. So in this record here, if you sent someone an email from your connected email, that's going to also show up here as a history. So not currently, right? There's not an email record here currently of like if you sent them a personal email through your Gmail or Outlook or something. So that's something coming in the future. And that'll be one less thing that you would log, right? If you sent an email and had a conversation, it's going to be right here. But for calls, that's going to be something, or maybe it was a Zoom meeting. You don't want to upload a Zoom link recording in this log. That requires you to go then review the call and try to remember what was said. There's a lot of really cool technology, guys, with Zoom and with the AI and everything, where you can get the download of the transcript. That's something that you would add as the note, right? Don't take the link because then it's going to take too much time, and that's eating into the efficiency that a CRM is supposed to provide. So the first things, this is how you would either replace your existing system, or if you're coming into Dubb for the first time as your CRM, you're going to want to make sure your properties are configured. You want to make sure that you're using the CRM, right? That you're logging activities, conversations, moments, things that are of note with that individual contact. And then, of course, you'll be aware of your properties here that you can change with a click. You've already customized those in part one. And when they're populated, they're going to show here. So this is the basic, the very, very basics of going back to the origins of a CRM, which is having it be customized for your business and actually using it for what it's built for, which is tracking. Now, in addition to sort of the basics here, activity logs, what happens when a prospect becomes a customer, or a prospect moves down the pipeline, and now all of a sudden there's maybe revenue tied to this, or a larger opportunity than just a prospect? This is where the deal boards come in. Deal boards are, I would say, a standard part of CRMs at this point, because you need an ability to track your sort of deals separately from just contacts. Now, could you use just the contact record and sort of track some deal stuff? Yeah, but this is going to make it a lot easier. And this is, again, what a CRM is designed for. It's designed to create efficiency and tracking and scalability, and deals can really help do this. Every part of a deal is customizable. Again, you can customize each stage. And this is just like the properties in the CRM. What are the important stages for your business, guys? You have prospects, of course, but those guys shouldn't be here in deals yet. They haven't warranted creating a deal for them if they're only a prospect. Like if you got a list of people to reach out to, that's not what I would say would warrant a deal. But if you've had a conversation with somebody and there's product fit, there's interest, then that might warrant one of these stages. Where your sort of deal stages begin and end, again, are totally unique to your business. So I do recommend customizing these. If your guys' deal sizes are extremely small, like let's say you're doing something like e-commerce and it's just small products that you're selling, this is not what deal stages are for. If you guys have longer sales cycles, meaning it could be 1 month, 6 months, it could be a year before somebody sees your material, sees your stuff, and then actually eventually purchases, that is definitely something that you should have deal stages for. Now, this here are very basic, very generic, not what I would recommend, right? You would want specific labels, and you'd want to think internally within your business, what are these key sort of phases? What happens when somebody moves from, let's say, qualified is a great starter, right? Meaning you've had a conversation, they raised a hand, they said something to show you that they're qualified for your opportunity, for your product or service. So that would be a great stage one, as an example. Again, not that they have never spoken, never clicked, never heard from you at all. That's not what I would consider a qualified. Even if you're like, well, they are qualified because they're a business that makes more than X amount of revenue. That's an internal qualification. It's not something that I would recommend putting into a deal board. Deals it's like a funnel, right? I mean, everyone's familiar with the funnel. The top of the funnel is the prospects, the people that haven't ever touched, right? But deals are going to be much further down in the pipeline, in that funnel, where you've had some sort of qualification, and that's going to be sort of your entry point. The next thing to consider is what moves somebody from one stage to the next. Qualified, scheduled an appointment, had an appointment, actually delivered the demonstration, had the conversation. Those are typically key phases in a sales cycle. If your sales cycle is like one call and done, even that could warrant this, right? Because you have qualified, you had presentation, and then you'll have close won or closed lost, right? Tracking the deals that you lose, that you don't win, is likely just as important to understanding the deals that you did win. The deals that you don't win, you need to go back and understand why this didn't happen. Was it a specific objection? Was there something that you can do to overcome that the next time? That's where we build and sharpen our business and our marketing and our strategies, is learning from the opportunities that we've lost. Just like in real life, right? We learn from our failures better than we do from the times that we win. When we do something right, we're like, all right, it worked. But when we fail at something is when we typically learn more. So these would be sort of some basic examples of what I would recommend for your deal stages. What's also important to consider here is a lot of us, again, have different products, different services, different types of businesses. So you can create as many different deal boards, and each of those would have unique deal stages among them. Again, if you just have one, it's a great place to start. But if you have super short sales cycles, small product like e-commerce type products and stuff, maybe those don't warrant a full deal board for them. But I think I can safely say everyone in here definitely doesn't, we're not doing e-commerce, and most of our clients aren't doing e-commerce. Most of us are professional services like agencies and real estate and things like that, services and products like software and technologies. These definitely warrant stages. Even people that have closed, what do you do with somebody once you've won, right? Once they've purchased, we all know what comes next, and that's the flywheel, where now we want to ask them like for a review, for a referral, for a testimonial, for some social proof, to make sure that they're so happy with the solution that they go tell others about it. So don't just think that the closed one is sort of the last phase of this, because there should be one after, right? What happens when you've got a successful client? This is all based on, again, imagine you hired somebody and they come into your business and you want this to work, right? You don't want them to fail. You want them to succeed. And it's for yourself as well. This is where setting up templates, right? Everyone's familiar with the template. That's essentially what this is. But it makes sure that anyone that gets to the qualified stage is you're able to track them and keep moving them down this pipeline. Why are they stuck at qualified and haven't gotten to scheduled? Is there something specific that needs to happen at that stage? The last part I'm going to cover here, guys, so besides the ability to customize each stage and multiple boards depending on your different products or services, these also can trigger automations. So if I create a deal here and move this from stage 1 to stage 2, that can trigger automations, which again, when I started with, guys, what is a CRM for? It's for efficiency, it's for effectiveness, it's for tracking. This is an extremely efficient way to move people down a pipeline. Moving them from stage 1 to stage 2 then would trigger an automation that says, hey, welcome, you're on stage 2 now. Just very, very generically that I'm providing that information. But this is, again, where all those elements sort of tie in, making it super, super easy for you to be able to view and act on the information that's here. You know, maybe you're coming back, it's a Monday morning and you're like, what happened over the weekend here? Who's doing what? This is the perfect time to come add the information to your CRM, move people, and figure out where people are and who needs to do what. So those basic properties right here, guys, CRM deals. The last part of the actual CRM, the rest of what I'm going to cover briefly, guys, is the marketing component. Salesforce itself doesn't actually have built-in marketing components. They don't have a marketing automation platform. They have like the Salesforce Marketing Cloud you can connect, or other third-party marketing automation tools, whereas Dubb has all of this built directly inside of it. More similar to something like HubSpot or Go High Level, where there's marketing automation and CRM technologies built directly inside of Dubb. So if you're looking at something like HubSpot, it's a fantastic replacement for something like HubSpot in a holistic approach, where marketing automation, deal tracking, landing pages can all be in the same solution. Whereas something like Salesforce, you're typically bolting on, is what they call it. You're adding additional technologies to that in order to provide some of the same functions. So marketing automation after this last piece, tasks. Tasks, again, are part of, just like in Salesforce, just like in HubSpot, these are reminders to help keep you on track. You or your employee or VA or anyone assisting you. You can have these, again, created automatically. You can create them manually. The idea is, what do you think you're going to forget? What do you think your team member is going to forget? What do you need help reminding? Some of these are specific. Some of them are generic here. Send this follow-up email. But the point is you'll want to use tasks. If you find yourself like, what was I supposed to do this week? This isn't for everybody. Like I myself I don't typically use the task engine personally because I have another thing that I have my tasks on. I'm very good at that system. So if you guys have something else that you prefer, like I have people that have a Rolodex still, right? Instead of the full CRM, they're using like a Rolodex. I have my contacts here and I'll call them. It's a lot of missed opportunity there. So tasks though are another engine. This is primarily for either yourself when you need reminders, or again, when you're using a team member, you're leveraging outsourcing or delegating work to others. Make it very easy for them to follow along. And a lot of these can be created again through automation. One example here before I move on to automation, to marketing, is let's say you guys send some videos, some emails, some automatic or bulk emails or individuals to contacts. Wouldn't it be great to have exactly know what to do with who automatically? So you send a series of emails, a series or a single send, and let's say they watch 100% of your video. Or let's say below your video, there was a button that says, I'm interested. And it would be nice to just wake up on Monday and see a task list of say, hey, follow up with Bill and John and Jerry and Joe, because they all watched 100% or clicked a button or did something that warrants that conversation or that further action. So this is where tasks, automations, deals, contacts, this all sort of ties in together. You're having your custom properties, you're going to have your deal boards, and then the tasks are going to be for things that you need help with. A lot of the times, guys, those are just made on the fly, right? Like remind me to do something on Monday. So you just come here, create a task, and it's visible right on the dashboard. Those also can be created from the mobile app. Alternatively, you're setting up automations. You're going to be doing something more automatically, like you send a series of emails, and if they watch 100% of any of those, or if they click buttons or do something associated with those, then you're having manual follow-ups, right? You're assigning yourself tasks. One more drill down just for more specifics. Let's say you're in real estate. Let's say you're doing a market update, right? Here's how the market's doing today. Here's what we're predicting is trending for the next 3 months or whatever. Regular market update. And you're going to send that, or like a newsletter, right? Just listed, just sold, all that stuff. You're going to send that to your whole list. Do you then want to say, okay, I'm just going to start cold calling my list? Or do you think that would be a lot, the conversation quality and the response rate and stuff is going to be much higher from those people that just watched 100% of your video or just clicked a button that says, I'm interested? So like my buddy Matthew here just watched almost 100% of this video. I'm certainly going to give him a call versus maybe Ina that watched 3%, right? She watched one and then disappeared. So they barely got to hear from me versus, Matthew here watched 100% of my video, maybe even clicked a button. When I call Matthew, he's going to say, hey, Darius, it's so great to see you. I was just watching you on a video, 21 hours ago. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's actually why I wanted to call you. So this is where, again, tasks, automations, and contacts are all being combined into creating that efficiency for you guys. So if you find yourself like, oh, well, this is too much work for me to leverage all of this at once, I would say start with one thing at a time, right? Start with customizing your CRM. And then once that's done, then start adding properties, adding notes, logging information for those individual contacts. This takes, it's like going to the gym or something, guys. You can go once and you're like, oh, I went to the gym once. But if you make it a regular thing where you're like, okay, 3 days a week at this time, I go to the gym and I do these things, your progress, your results are going to be absolutely much greater than as if you just did it randomly every once in a while. So that's my biggest piece of advice. Is that this seems like too much to bite off right now. Start with just one of those components. First, fix your CRM, then practice logging activities daily, right? Every single day at 9 a.m., at 9 p.m., whatever your time to do that is, come log what conversations you had, what tasks you need to take care of the next day. It's sort of like basic maintenance, but it's things a lot of us skip. So guys, this is the standard CRM functionality, which again, every CRM should have: contact management, customization, deal tracking. The next component I'm going to briefly touch on, because we have a lot more trainings around these things, but are the campaigns and automations. So unlike a tool like Salesforce, where you're needing external bolted on things, or a lot of other CRMs also don't do marketing automation and bulk email, text messaging. They don't do those internally. And they typically ask you to, connect something or go use a completely external product and then connect them via Zapier or Make or some alternative. So Dubb is not like this. It's an all-in-one solution, including your bulk emails and text messages. This is one of the things that we're researching right now for cold emails specifically. If you guys are doing mass emails, that's perfect. It's exactly what the sort of newsletter, the campaign features for. You can send out bulk emails, bulk text messages. These are one-time sends, like a MailChimp type function. And then alternatively, I say this a lot, but it's the eventuality of every business as well, which is automation. Right? You don't want to have to send every email to every single prospect and lead and customer every time, because you simply won't, right? There's not enough time in the day unless you're only talking to 5 people. We want to grow our business and we want to stay on top of people. You want to stay top of mind with those contacts. And one of the most effective ways to do that is with automation. Again, there's a lot of training on this. I have to briefly mention this. Guys, automation is not to just bug people, right? That's the problem. That's what happened, is everyone was just using it to bug people. And that's why email deliverability became so much harder. It's not that. It's to provide value. It's to help you remain top of mind in a positive way. If you're just bugging them, like, hey, we talked 6 months ago, are you ready? That's not a lot of value, right? Versus, here's the secret. Here's some insight. I want to help you, and here's what I can do to help you. Here's some information that I know is going to help you. And they're like, wow, he was right. This is really helpful to me. That is a positive way to stay top of mind. And that's truly the way to leverage automation. And again, if you're looking at a tool like HubSpot, this is very expensive and can get very cumbersome. And then if you need support with it, you're going to be paying out the teeth for the support with it as well. This is something that Dubb is built for, and that we can directly support you with. So if you guys need help with automations, this is one of the best places to do it. We also have our daily live trainings, our chat support, our one-to-one Zoom support. So I know a lot of you guys here, I'm sort of preaching to the choir because we're all leveraging automation. But if you are not, this is sort of a wake-up call, right? How can you possibly stay on top of everybody without the use of automation? And the idea with Dubb is it's all in one stop. The support, the technology, all of it that you need is right here. So again, just to recap, guys, if we're looking at a solution like a Salesforce or a HubSpot or one of these larger, sort of more cumbersome systems, Dubb is a fantastic alternative to any one of those, because the technology is easier to use, it's less cumbersome, less sort of complicated, and most importantly, the human support is here to help. You don't have to go pay thousands of dollars for consultants to come and work with you per hour, charges, nothing like that. Salesforce and HubSpot will both require that. If you want to do anything fancy with that, you're going to have to hire or go to Fiverr, Upwork, and hire somebody to actually help you, because it is that complicated. And we all need to be focused on working on our business, in our business, and not becoming Salesforce and HubSpot administrators, right? That's not anyone's goal. And with Dubb, that's one of the really positive benefits that we hear from our clients is when you guys need support with something, it's inclusive, right? You can come get the help that you need. In my personal opinion, it's probably one of the biggest differentiators and one of the most important things, because if you don't know how to do this yourself and you have to go hire or pay thousands and thousands of dollars to do something like this, you're probably not going to do it. Versus if you have it right at your fingertips, makes it very, very easy to get the help that you need. And we're here every day doing so. So guys, Emmett specifically, that's kind of Dubb in a nutshell in replacing a technology like a Salesforce, like a HubSpot. It's going to be easier to use. You're going to have more support, and it's going to be more robust. Maybe not more robust than HubSpot. There's definitely a lot going on there, but you don't need to hire a hundreds of dollar per hour consultant to help you deal with it. And in fact, you have live support from our team every day of the week. So, good. All right, let me